Before we start the video this week, let's have a quick look at the history of the building we're working on. It was built in 1864 as the local inn. The town of St Anne's on the Sea hadn't been even thought of back then. The pub itself served the local farmers and fishermen, and it was said that a good time could be had in the pub. It was eventually shut down and turned into part reading rooms and still served the public food. It was said that a good dinner could be had at the Trawboat Inn, but eventually that fell out of favour and it became a farmhouse. Eventually the farmhouse again was shut down and the property was converted into two dwellings, two cottages. The two cottages remain today, and we are in the process of restoring the masonry of one of the cottages. Right, let's crack on with this video and see how we go about restoring the masonry. It's Tuesday morning and I'm just going over the brickwork with the flapper disc now. So if you look up there, I don't know if the camera picks that up, but it's a bit sort of rough looking. So you go over it with the flapper disc, it makes it more lovely and smooth again. And later on today I'm going to start cutting out these, but it's a very wet day. This stuff wet and slippy, absolutely horrendous. The 40 grit flapper disc is removing all the high spots off the brick that have been left by the cut disc. Gets them nice and smooth again. Right, I've only got a little bit at the top to do now, and that's all the flapper disc bit done. I'm a bit worried about this electricity and water. Not the best thing to be doing in heavy rain. But I'm going to put a plank on now, get the top bit, and then finish that off, and then we'll see what the wet's doing. Well, you know it's time to stop when you start getting little tingles going through your hand off the machine. I think it's a little bit of electricity just starting to arc out of it. It's a bit damp, so I don't think it's safe to continue. There's only a bit up there to do now. All this is done, so I could always go on there, maybe hand cut some of this. I just don't like to go home, you know, no money in going home. Well, I've started cutting out the joints of the mortar. Wait there. This is the old line mortar, and it's coming out, and it's like a paste. It's absolutely saturated. I've never known it be like this before. I'm absolutely covered in it. It's coming off in like chunks of wetness. Look at that. Wet through. You could really use it. Now this is why, when I say don't repoint with sand cement mortar over the line. It's alright saying, well, it'll make it waterproof. It doesn't want to be waterproof. You know, this building is 160 years old, and it's saturated because some fool has repointed it with sand cement and then smeared cement on the bricks and then put plastic paint on the bricks. It's absolutely brilliant wet. I've never seen a building as wet. So there you go. Just killed it. It's alright, the plug will come out. That's the wet line. It's sticking to me. That's how bad it is. It's yeah. It's yeah, it's just incredible how wet it is. At least the dust might dry me out a bit after this morning's rain. Right, so I'm going to have to give it a wash because some of the wet line that's gone on it, I don't want it to harden up on the brake face again. So I'll have to give it all a hose down now. But that gives you an idea on what we're doing there. Right, catch you in a bit. And there you go, it's all washed off now. So that's back to 1864. That's the original lime bedding in there. There's no cement mortar left on it at all now. So hopefully this can start to dry out. It'll take it quite a while though. 9 inches of saturated brickwork to try and dry. But it's not going to get repointed for quite some time yet, so there's plenty of time to get that air around it and dry out. Right, I'm going home because it's going dark. I'm cold, I'm wet. I'm ready for a hot shower and something to eat, so we shall see you tomorrow. Wednesday morning, we're back on this chasing out, just having a minute. I think the dust mask filters had clogged up because it's slightly light-headed. I was getting a lack of air. Anyway, I built a little tent. I don't want the performance of yesterday. All the electric's nice and dry in there now if it rains. Although the sun is shining at the moment, or in part. Right, so today's little tete-a-tete is get out the cement mortar pointing that you can see up there and across there. Tack that top with the flapper disc just to finish off the flapper disc of work. As I said yesterday, I've started to get electricity coming through the grinder into my hand, which is never pleasant and never safe. But yeah, we're getting there with this. I want to get all this section out and completed and ready for pointing, and then I can alter all the scaffolding to get higher up. It's a bit cheaper doing it that way than getting the scaffolding firms in who I think they're about £2 now to come and do it, which is silly money. Right, let's crack on. I'm using a 4-inch diamond raking out disc to clear the joints out. It's more than adequate for this particular job. It can get me a depth into about 25mm, which is plenty, because they're not that wide, these joints. Now, whenever you're doing this, you're cutting out the perps, that's your perpendicular joints, the uppy-downy joints. You've got to be very careful because you can quite easily nip the edge of the brick below as you cut. So bear in mind you've got to go slow when you're doing the perps, because you will damage them, and there's no going back once you cut them. It's a bit of a dusty job. Right, I'm going to get a brush and brush this brickwork off so I can see what it is. Okay, let's give you a little brush there. Also, it's always easier if you can see what you're doing. Cutting these in quite deep, about 25mm, majority of it. Right, so it's not finished there. What I've got to do is get a little pick, just trim all the edges up, where there's still some hot water stuck to it. Already done down there. So what we've cut today, I'm going to put flapper disc on this lot, all these marks out. Right, I shall carry on, come back to it in a bit. Right, so we're completely cut out now. We can get the black grinder. So the next stage is chip away all the bits of cement mortar that are on the house of the bricks. Right, let's crack on with it. Right, so the weapon we need is the old pick. Basically, this takes it back to what the brick was like before somebody smeared cement mortar on it. Because these had never been a straight, clean cut brick. You can see that when you get back to the line, you know, because the beds, some are tiny thin and some are quite thick. Right, let's do it. Of course, it's very important that I get all the cement mortar off it. You know, that's what's causing the problems with the damp. It might look a bit harsh, chipping the edges of the bricks like this, but there's not actually any brick there, it's just cement mortar. Once it's pointed in, believe me, it'll look absolutely fantastic. I mean, I wouldn't recommend doing this if it was like an engineering brick or a rustic or something like that. But for these old commons, what they used to do with them, they used to bring them to the site and they're putting a building up and just basically chuck them in a big pile. So they were all chipped and so on when they built the building. You know, so it doesn't really matter with these. Like I say, a nice face brick, you don't want to be buggering about with the pick on it. I mean, that piece there, it's just come off. If you look at that, that's actually, it's not brick, it's actually mortar. But you look at the edge there. Now, the lime mortar is right to the top of that there. So that's how it was in 1864. I've actually had people say to me, "Are you taking forever doing that? You're milking it." Well, it takes time because, you know, we're not just doing a bog standard job here. You know, if this is going to be sand and cement pointing, it won't matter about them bits of mortar. You know, see, there's another bit. You can quite clearly see that it is actually cement mortar. And that's what we have to get off the brick. It's no good just cutting a straight line because that mortar is still stopping the moisture getting out of the brick. So we need to get it off. You know, brick or stone, you can't leave it on there. And yeah, it does take time. That's a very hard bit there. May have to get that with a plug-in chisel in a minute. That's very hard, that. Oh, here it goes. Yep. And again, you can see that lime mortar going right up into that there. I don't know if the camera's picking that up. Problem is with cement mortar, it's too damned hard for the bricks and it traps moisture into those lime bedding joints. This is what's caused the problem on the building, and this is why we're removing the bits on the bricks. Of course, you know, you could say that you could cut all these nice and square with your grinder and, you know, they'd look great. But that's not how it was. And what we're about is restoring it back to how it was. You know, I mean, you might have a nice big thick joint and a tiny thin joint. That's how it was built, and that's how we have to leave it. The same as these, like the corners off the brick. You take the cement out of it, and that's how it was. And what I'll probably do in the spring when I come to point it is get the air grinder. Just chase these out a little bit more just to square up the joint. But not the brick, just the mortar. Anyway, you get the general gist there of what we have to do. So once we've done the removal of all the cement mortar off the Harris of the bricks, we'll then go over the rest of these few here with the flapper disc and get them nice and smooth. And we can have a wash down later on today, and that's then done. That's left now till the spring, and then in the spring we'll come back and we'll line point it. Look at that, cup of coffee, real coffee, very nice. And there you go. That's every last drop of cement mortar out of that side now. All cleaned up. That can be left now for a few months and then line pointed. And the wind is getting up. The storm's about to hit. It's chucking it down out there. But, not too bad in here at the minute. Right, lunchtime. Oh dear, look at that. Yep, absolutely chucking it down now. I've sheeted everything up. Right, well the sun's just starting to go down. It's about 4:30. I've cracked on today. All this section is now back to what it should be. Once a wash, it's covered in dust obviously, but that's ready for pointing. Been a big job, very big job. I've just got a little bit around that window to do at the end there. That's pretty much the ground floor section of this done. She's brilliant. Right, I'm going to clean up and go home, and we'll see you tomorrow. Well, it's now Thursday, and the weather's beat me. It's just getting on for lunchtime, but it's getting far too dangerous now. For one, all the planks are slippery as anything, and the electric's getting soaked. So I'm going to call it a day and go and do some paperwork. My favourite thing, not. Right, well maybe we'll see you tomorrow for a bit more footage. It depends on the weather. If not, this will be the final part of this week's video. So if it is the final part, I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to give us that thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Right, hopefully see you tomorrow. If not, we'll see you next week. Have a good weekend. before you go, I just want to say a big thank you to everybody that's subscribed over the last few weeks. It's really appreciated, and it is helping to build the channel. If you're enjoying the videos and you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. We need to get more and more subscribers. And don't forget, give us a thumbs up. That's the like button. Also, give us a share. Right, we'll see you all next week. Have a great weekend.